Cheers to a continuation Monday Zero DTE team. This is your routine debrief. We're going to start by looking at the results for the day. I'm going to start doing this in the beginning and build out from there. So today was a good day. Any day that's a green day is a good day. I did manage to pull in $1,700 despite being mildly wrong in my assumption. So I assumed today, as you can see in the lower tweet here, that we were going to hit that breakout target. I always assume that with breakouts, it has an 80% probability of happening. And we didn't quite get there. That target was 37.20 in SPX. We stalled after cleaning up that poor high, and we didn't hit my target. So the long delta plays didn't work out. However, there were some good futures trades in between there. So if we just look at this picture, we had some good ES trades in there, and there was a good, so I lost some on SPX because I had long calls, but there was a good playbook trade there. So today was pivot chop. We took the device signals, that worked out there. So that really buffered the long delta play that I usually take for those breakout plays. So I'm also currently long that ES NQ pair, and I'll tell you why. So I'm still bullish, and we're going to go explore why I am taking a rare overnight position. So target, in my opinion, remains the same. That 3,900 area, it's that white ellipse. It's a pretty broad area, so I'm not sure the exact price point. We'll say about 3,900. That's where I think the magnet is. And the reason I took that overnight position is if you look at the 4-hour chart here, you'll see that we closed above. So that's the prior month value area high. And we are also above balance on the weekly profile here. So we're a little overextended. And you see that in the RSI here. And what usually happens when we have overbought RSI in a downtrending market, there's often a pullback before continuation. I want to get, and the reason I'm doing a pair and not just straight ES is I want to get ahead of it in case we are actually breaking out a little. I want to be on the correct side of that trade. And if we're not, we have pretty clear, I think I have a clear stop. We start to lose 3,800, can get out of that with not too bad of a loss. And that's why I like those pairs trades, because they give you that delta buffer that you can be a little wrong, you can give it a little more room, and the loss isn't as severe. And I'll also show you why I'm long when we get to the VIX chart. In fact, let's go check that out right now. So this is a chessboard. I'm going to come back to this. It's gone in VIX. Still clear downtrend. The range is widening, which is kind of lends credence to the possibility that we may have that pullback. That widening range also, however, opens up the downside, opens up that breakout. So I'm not so much focused on this wider trend as the little wedge that's developing here. I'm suspecting that we're going to kind of have a pop down and continue this way. But I think that we have a pretty good vantage point. So I'm thinking 30.50 for me. So I'll just draw a horizontal there. We start to get to 30.50. That's kind of when I'm going to probably look to evacuate that pairs trade. There's levels on the ES chart as well, but I'm thinking if we start to break down, we might get that pop in the VIX, and I'll be watching that 30.50 area. So to me, we're still downtrending. We're coiling a little bit, but I find this to be a bearish pattern. We'll see which way it breaks. But that's just another one reason that I am trying that overnight swing. So if we look at the overall big picture here, so I'm going to call this the chessboard from now on. This goes back to mid-September, so it goes back a little more than a month, and it really shows us what's going on here. So if we look at, I'm just going to pull this down a little bit. If we look at this bottom that the market's put in here, you have that really nice false break there that popped us up. So as we confront, I don't know if I'd call this a double bottom. It's a little steep for me, but whatever you want to call it, this area was just predetermined, predestined, we'll say, to be that first, that really significant resistance point, and we're meeting it today. And what I thought was going to happen, I thought we're going to pop this poor high, and we're going to explore what the poor high is in just a second here. I thought we were going to pop this poor high and continue a little higher, just based on the probabilities again, not my assumption. But it stopped us. It makes sense that it stopped us, and it makes sense if we chop around a little bit in here. However, I'm still positioned for that breakout, but this is kind of the main areas we're watching here. So I'm not going to click my mouse too much on the right side of the chart there, but you can see that 3,700 is that 3,700 to 3,750 area is kind of our primary demand zone. That secondary demand zone being the 3,761 to 3,792. If you want to be specific, it's probably different numbers because I just zoomed out a little. In any case, so that's what we're looking at. That's our demand, and that supply that we have there right at the top here just doesn't seem very thick anymore to me. So that's what I'm looking at on our board. Again, if we start to lose that 3,800 number, there's plenty of room to chop in between here. So something to look out for in that sense. So the final component of our analysis today, we're just going to look at poor high. I just want to review what this is. I'm going to pause Toucan. Quick plug for Toucan. It helps you learn a language by just turning random words into that language. This one is Spanish, but please do not test me yet because I do not know what a ubicación is. So we're gonna have to pause to see what that is. Oh, that would be a location. I digress. Poor high. So really just this, you can go to shadowtrader.net, just put shadow trader poor high on Google if you want to read the full definition. I just see it as weak hands. You got some weak-handed longs who are trapped at a specific location. It's not institutional guys. It's not, we'll call them long-term diamond-handed buyers. It's weaker hands. And so the thought is that it's going to reject at first before it breaks it. But when it does break it, it's often likely that it breaks through. Again, you can read some more on what that is. Any terms that you don't know, please go ahead and pop them into the bottom of this channel, or engage with me on one of the other platforms, Twitter, newsletter, etc. And I'm happy to explain what those are. But often, if you just Google it with one of the thought leaders like Shadow Trader or Richard Dalton or something like that, there are, let's say Richard Dalton, Jim Dalton, you can find terms that way. But yeah, not to confuse, you can always just ask me as well. Okay. So that's what we got today. That's our chessboard. That's levels we're watching. That's why I'm currently long. And I think, at least for this overnight session, that should do on the information. Obviously, if anything crazy happens, things can change, but that's where we are now. So just a quick plug. I started the routine review yesterday. The only other attendees were me, myself, and I, so it went very smoothly. I'll post a link to that in the bio for anyone who's looking to kind of go beyond zero DTE into portfolio land. I'll keep that link there. I'll plug it every now and again. And I also have I'll put the playbook in the bio for anyone who's wondering when I say pivot chop, pivot go, pivot fade, any of that stuff. That's kind of the short premium trades. And yeah, besides that, please engage. I'm always looking for more topics, for good questions to answer, stuff like that. Twitter, YouTube, and the newsletter are my primary channels. And until tomorrow, stay classy.